The Industry Transformation Maps, ITMs, are a key mechanism to build enterprise capabilities and to transform sectors. Ms. Sun Xueling suggested deeper engagements with corporates. Mr. Leon Pereira inquired how we could involve the private sector more. I want to use the food manufacturing ITM, which was launched in November last year, as an example to address these questions and suggestions. Mr. Chair, may I have your permission to show some slides on the monitor?
Yes, please.
The ITMs integrate government policies and initiatives and promote collaboration among industry stakeholders to achieve transformation and growth through productivity, skills development, innovation, and internationalization, the four key planks that you see. Spring is the lead agency for food manufacturing, and they work with government agencies and industry stakeholders to develop the ITM. The goal is to develop Singapore into Asia's leading food and nutrition hub. And there are quantitative targets to galvanize the efforts to realize this goal. The aim is to grow our food manufacturing sector's value add by 6.5% per annum, overseas income by 8% per annum, and productivity by 4.5% per annum by 2020. And these are, as members would acknowledge, quite ambitious targets, especially when we compare with other sectors and historical paths. 98% of the almost 850 food manufacturing enterprises in Singapore are SMEs. So SMEs have been actively involved in the development of the ITM, which also aims to address their needs. For example, many SMEs find the cost of R&D and technology adoption prohibitive because they lack scale. Therefore, one component of the ITM is to build a network of shared infrastructure to increase productivity and create co-innovation opportunities. One such shared resource is the high-pressure processing tolling facility. Food in its final packaging is subjected to high levels of pressure to extend shelf life. The smallest of such machines costs about $800,000, which is not cost-effective for an SME to purchase for its exclusive use. For example, a typical small juice company with an annual production volume of, say, 40,000 liters would need such a machine for only about 4 days in a year. So Spring will be investing at least $1.5 million in such a high-pressure processing machine. This machine will be located in Jurong, where there is a concentration of food manufacturing companies, and it will be ready by the fourth quarter of this year. And food manufacturers will be able to use the machine on a pay-per-use basis. The ITM will also help companies collaborate on innovation with initial focus on MNC SME projects. Montreux Patisserie, a local bakery, has partnered Unilever Food Solutions, for example, to develop new flavors and products. And Spring has started a food innovation cluster work group so that our companies can spawn more of such partnerships with global food innovators and corporate accelerators. As Mr. Charles Chong has emphasized, such resource pooling, whether it's in terms of equipment and R&D effort, can help raise productivity and lower business costs. However, resource sharing is still a relatively nascent idea for local food manufacturers. And it's important that our business owners be open to such novel business arrangements if we are to succeed in industry transformation. The ITMs also seek to ensure that regulations do not hinder innovation and transformation. So MTI and Spring, for example, commissioned a review of food manufacturing regulations. And the preliminary findings indicate that there is a growing industry interest in novel food ingredients, such as those produced by novel processes or from non-traditional sources. But there is a need to establish and communicate a regulatory pathway for such novel food ingredients. And that is something that is now under regulatory review actively by government. If I can pull some of these ideas together, Al's Chocolate is a company that exemplifies the enterprise transformation that we seek through these industry transformation maps. I hope members had a chance to try or sample some of their chocolates in the members' room earlier. My last check, it's all gone, so I'm assuming it's because it was consumed. Established in 2003 as the first Singaporean-owned chocolate manufacturer, ALS has grown rapidly over the years. Government agencies have supported it as it enhanced productivity through automation, ventured into new overseas markets, and invested in research and innovation. With Spring's capability development grants, ALS has invested in a series of productivity projects, including an automated production line to improve the efficiency of chocolate production and packaging. It helped ALS increase production by 70%, which allowed it to scale, meet higher export demand without the need to increase manpower. Internationalization has been at the core of ALS' business strategy from the very beginning, because Singapore's domestic chocolate consumption clearly cannot sustain its growth. 98% of this company's revenues are from exports, and a key success factor has been branding. ALS has used IE Singapore's Global Company Partnership Grants to build a brand framework tailored for different markets. And it is now an established player partnering large companies like Dunkin' Donuts, Unilever, and Nestle in various markets and projects. Over the years, the company has also leveraged Spring's SME talent program to identify the right people for its needs. Mr. Dean Ng was one of ALS' first employees under the SME talent program. He joined the company in 2013 as a marketing executive, and he has since been promoted to brand manager. And he works directly with the COO to develop marketing plans and initiatives to increase sales and brand awareness in all key markets. ALS is also starting student placements under the Skills Future Earn and Learn program. But the company's growth has also created opportunities for older workers. Mr. David Choi, who's now 62, spent much of his career working in the ship maintenance line. And at the age of 52, he made the switch to the food manufacturing industry by joining ALS. And he upgraded himself through continual training and development, especially as more new equipment was acquired by the company. And today, he is the go-to guy for assistance with ALS machinery, and he and his life experience is really testimony to the benefits of skills upgrading. So, to sum up, the ITMs encompass a suite of programs to help our companies scale up and transform. The aim is to transform every sector, enable enterprises to grow their top lines, and enhance their productivity and competitiveness. Workers will also benefit from these transformation maps because they will gain a clear view of the career pathways in the sector and the skills that are required. And to better match skill supply with industry demand, Spring is working with the unions and industry to develop a food manufacturing skills framework. And workers can use this framework to map out their careers, assess skills gaps, and tap on programs such as the Adapt and Grow initiative of MOM to enhance their employability. And this framework will be ready by 2017. Also, trade associations and chambers like the Singapore Food Manufacturers Association and the Singapore Manufacturing Federation will play an important catalytic role as the industry embarks on projects to internationalize, innovate, and develop people and technical standards. SMS SimAn will elaborate on our efforts to enhance the capacity of TACs in this regard. Ms. Foo Mee Ha has asked about the progress of the ITMs that have been launched so far and the lessons that have been learned. And I think she's rightly focusing on the implementation elements because that's really where the rub is and that's where we'll see the biggest outcomes. I have spoken in detail on the progress of the food manufacturing ITM and how it will involve and benefit workers, companies, and trade associations and chambers. And we will adopt a similar model for the other 17 ITMs, which will be launched by the end of this financial year, meaning FY 2017. It will take time, however, before we can get substantive information to assess the progress and effectiveness of the ITMs. Nonetheless, I want to emphasize that the ITMs are not static plans. They will be regularly reviewed by tracking key performance indicators, and the plans will be updated and modified as we learn more through implementation. Ms. Fu also asked if we should prioritize sectors with high growth potential and establish sector partnership structures for the ITMs. The 23 ITM sectors account for about 80% of our GDP, and generally they meet the kind of criteria that Ms. Fu has mentioned. But they will also, and it will all be launched by the end of the FY, as I've said, but the pace of implementation will to a significant extent, depend on the response from the industry and the commitment of the stakeholders. We also have broad-based schemes to support the needs of companies in the non-ITM sectors as well.